Greetings, folks, and welcome to the last voyage of the Whale's Whiskers. If it's your first time joining us on our channel, we do run it 100% for charity. And if you'd like to donate to our chosen charity, which is Satchel's Last Resort, you can click on the link down below. It takes you right to their donation page. They are 501c, can give you all those tax things because it is tax season. And they are a wonderful animal rescue organization for animals who have basically are going to be put down in other kill shelters that they try to give them one last chance. They are a non-kill shelter where they have lots of sort of permanent residents there and can always use all the help you get. It's where I got Lunar from, so you know it can't be all bad. But certainly, if you'd like to help us help them, give them a click down there. With that out of the way, let's go around and meet our cast, because I want to jump right into these episodes, these sessions that we've got coming up. We're in a kind of interesting spot in our story. So we will start off with Kuma.
Hello, yes, I'm Kuma. Thank you for your patience. Sorry I wasn't here last week. I broke my leg in 3 places, but I'm here today. Everything's great, and I am playing Kato, our brass dragon-born life cleric.
Next up, we have Bird.
I am Bird vs. Blaine. I'm playing Baldir the Wanderer, our Loxodon Storm Sorcerer.
Next up, we have Meta.
Hi, I'm Metazoa. I'm going to be playing as Queda, our Dwarven Eldritch Knight fighter. I have to remember that every week, and it's not getting any easier.
Next up, we have Grant.
Good evening, everyone. I'm Grant, and I'll be playing our Drow Circle of Stars Druid, Halra.
Next up, we have Ace.
Hi, everyone. I am Ace. I play Duron, the totally not evil, fathomless warlock.
Totally. The warlock of deep size. And last but not least, we have Soul.
Hello, everyone. I'm Soul. You can find me everywhere as Soul's Rolls. I am playing Otrek, our lizard folk artificer, battlesmith.
And I'm Tosquall. I am your DM for this story that we're telling here. You can find me as Tosquall everywhere, and super excited to have you here. As always, if you hear issues with the audio, please let chat know, and if I don't see it, one of my players will kick me under the virtual table so I can hopefully correct it somewhat, and hope you all enjoy as we dive right back into this. So, as our party has traveled upriver here on this river that they came to after crossing the Cerulean Sea and braving the Vile Reef, met several challenges along the way, found some treasure, found some enemies to fight, but then continued to make their way upriver, following this calling, this draw towards a place called Volkulran that Shimandala, Duron's patron, had told them to meet them at in order to make the trade, this shard of the sky that they had recovered for their cabin boy Fitz that basically was kidnapped by Shimandala. Over the course of their first day of travel, Halran, wanting to find out more after a mysterious vision he had seen in the stars, took a ancestral blood journey into his own bloodline, back into his history, and revealed some somewhat disturbing imagery and history in his own ancestral lineage. On that journey, not knowing, I think, quite as harrowing as it was going to be, drew his friend Baldir with him, and they experienced these memories together. So profound that Halran actually used some of his druidic skills to let those magics leave their mark on him, scarring his wrists and hands with sort of thorny scar tissue, tattoos almost, white against his dark drowish skin, and his eyes changing color to like spun silken silver that he had seen in one of his visions. As the party decided to travel through the night, wanting to get to Volcaron as quickly as possible, not knowing what Shumandala's timetable might be. As the very early hours of the morning came, almost right before dawn, Halron was confronted with the actual place that he had seen in his vision in the stars, that he had gone actually looking for more information about. This canyon that forked off the main river, flowing away from the direction where they were headed, but in his vision down towards this dark cave where this mysterious entity, sort of arachnid-eyed entity, seemed to be lying in wait in the vision. As he was handing off to Duron, our other navigator, asked Duron to come up and take a look to let him know what was going on. And Duron, using his warlock senses as a fathomless warlock, sort of spiritually connected with the water, with the currents, and flowed down into this cave and felt the darkness there, felt the chilling, bone-chilling energy within that space. And then when trying to retreat back to his body, found himself trapped in some sort of watery web-like trap. And after a very high saving throw, was able to pull himself free. But upon arriving back on the deck of the ship, having battling some of the last effects of the corruption he suffered, they seemed to flare up on him. And as they did, instead of one of these sort of anemone type spikes emerging from his body as they had before, what emerged was this jointed, almost Black Widow-like arachnid leg. And that is where we're going to pick back up. Duron, I need you to make me a charisma saving throw.
Right off the bat. Why you gotta do it right off the bat? Where was my dice?
You said you made a high saving throw. Like, nah, Durant, no, that was
Get away. That's not the end of it.
That was not high, but I will add a D4 to it because I can. Oh, that's not terrible. So, that's 20.
20. On a dirty 20, you almost reflexively, as you feel this pain spike in your shoulder and kind of radiate down through the marrow of your bones, your consciousness reaches out down into the water where you had found relief before, this almost soothing balm-like quality to the water. And as you do, instead of taking 4 points of damage, you only take 2 as it emerges from your shoulder. And you feel that soothing that you had felt before again, but it's not. It seemed to blunt that initial sort of thrust of this corruption that seems to still somehow be hiding within your bones, but does not take it away entirely. We're going to sort of revisit where everyone is real quick before we jump in. The boat right now is station keeping, held in place by Baldir, right here in front of this canyon. The sun just barely rising. Brianna is there with you, as Halran brought her along. And Halran, Baldir, Brianna would see this leg emerge.
being initially unsure what's going on, Halwaron, who I believe is probably right next to Duron at this point, since they had been talking about what he saw, will step away from the spider leg, but around Duron. So he's still next to him, but doesn't want to be, I guess, noticed by whatever he is worried this may or may not be. But I will then touch Duron's shoulder and cast Cure Wounds.
You can go ahead and cast that.
Yeah, I'm rolling. And at this point, Halwaron will wait to see if the leg is going to grow bigger, start writhing around, or what's going on.
Roll me a medicine check.
Can I give him advantage on that?
Sure, I'll allow it.
Okay, cool. I'm just going to roll twice.
Yeah. On a 21, again, having experienced these spikes yourself on the corrupted reef, you notice this one, while it immediately emerged that sort of black, opalescent color, almost slick seeming and bladed, even though it was in this arachnid shape. This one seemed to already have almost a sheen of calcification on it, which is what took several days to happen to yours. It's almost as though this one is somehow weaker than the ones that you had experienced when at the Vile Reef.
Do you want me to pull it out, Duron?
I honestly don't know what to do with this.
Should we find Kato?
That sounds like a good idea.
Okay. Do y'all get the ship back underway, or are you going to stay here in Station Keep?
Call from the navigators. I know we kind of have a bigger spider to fry, but does anyone, give any orders? Does Biriana give any orders?
I mean, if no one speaks up, Biriana, having gotten the direction last time that we were going to head towards Volcaron, especially with the new piece of information that this also might be where her debt can be fulfilled to Jin Sarat, will call for the ship to... That's disturbing. She points to Duron. See what Kato
That's
can do
not nice
about
to
it.
say.
Yeah, the spider leg.
You
is
aren't
quite
disturbed
upsetting,
by
too.
that. You can't tell me you're not disturbed by that. You've got a spider leg coming out of your shoulder.
It's, a little uncomfortable.
She just, mouth open, then turns around, just like, let's get underway. Continue upriver.
I'm gonna go down and see Kato.
So let's actually check in with Kato, as pretty much the last we saw Kato was about mid-afternoon yesterday, after being released by this kelp eel. He ran off down to his below decks, down to his cabin, tend to his wounds, and what else?
Some very, very brave cowering. Maybe a little bit of crying mixed in with some breathing exercises, all probably taking place within the wardrobe, because it's probably the easiest place to hide, and he can pull the doors shut.
Okay.
That's probably where he stayed for a while.
So it's already been through the night. So would you have slept in there, or would you have actually come back out to your bed? Your bed is still a little bit, rotten from the from
The kid, honestly, Kiddo would Kato doesn't have a bed anymore. Kato doesn't have his bathtub. Sure, he's sleeping in the wardrobe now.
Poor Kato. Speaking of Kato's room, just because we also didn't touch on another piece, the last place we actually tracked the barrel with the shard in it was Kato's room. I don't think you all would have left it there all the way through the night. So I know we kind of got sidetracked before actually talking back with Queta and Otrek of where is the barrel now the next morning?
I would say it's probably in the workshop.
Okay.
Much as I hate to say it, that's probably the best place for it.
I figured, but I didn't want to plant that in case that wasn't where you wanted it to be. So, just knowing that we'll catch up with Otrek and Queta here. Again, it's very early hours of the morning. We can check in with them, but let's go ahead and follow Duron and Halran as well, coming down to see Kato.
Yeah, Duran's like playing it cool, but he's moving like not at a full sprint, but like he's like power walking towards Kato's Kato's room.
Okay.
And then just gonna like, come up to his door and knock on it kind of fiercely.
You can come in. Please don't be the kelp thing.
I'm not the kelp thing, Kato. But it may be alarming nevertheless.
After what I
I'm
just
gonna open the door.
I feel like I can. Oh! What is.
It does twitch a little.
What is that?
Hmm.
Why?
I'm
Listen,
not sure
listen,
I
most
can
of
give
you-
you an answer to either one of those questions.
Most of the people with the spikes coming out of them were impatient and pulled them out. Why did you not pull that out before you came down here?
Because I did that last time, and it was very painful.
Awful.
What did you do last time to suppress this condition?
Well, I removed the curse, and then I healed you, basically. Horan, before you step in, do you have one as well? Is it on your back that I cannot see? I just do not want to be surprised by this.
Elron just turns a full circle slowly to show Kato. No other spikes.
Oh, excellent. Thank you.
Kato, you would notice that Halran's eyes, though, now are a different color.
Is that new?
Yes, and in all honesty, perhaps not unrelated.
I should ask more questions before I offer people help.
Kato puts his hands on his hips and looks over at Duran and is almost mentally taking the number of things that Duran should have probably asked questions of before just helping people. A particular belt comes to mind, but no matter.
That worked out just fine. I don't know what you're talking about.
It had us at sword point. Come here. Not too close. I guess I will attempt the same process as before.
Before you do, I'm going to let you do. Go ahead and do a medicine check with advantage.
Perfect.
For just to examine what is going on.
All right, that's uno, and that's dos.
Great. Kato, I mean, you literally brought 2 people back from the dead from this. And as you begin to get ready to go through the process, you know, your sort of triage skills immediately are kicking in. And you quickly realize Duran is not suffering from an active curse right now. And on a natural 20, for a total of 28, after a few tests, after sort of examining using arcane and physical skills, you have some news to deliver. It seems as though the corruption has integrated itself into Duran, the marrow of Duran's bones.
This corruption from this time, or the prior corruption?
From the prior time, and that this seems to be a condition
like a
that
manifestation from
basically, it's a chronic condition. It's this this currently, it's not a curable condition that you can deal with. It seems to be chronic in nature, that it is now, you don't know how you could eradicate it.
Could, if Duran died and then was brought back,
seems a little extreme.
His body. No, I'm just curious now, because this is my medical brain now, because nothing in him is alive. Would that carry over in life again?
You don't know. I would
But
say
we could test it.
Well, here's the thing. You have 2 other subjects who perished from this corruption, who have been brought back through a resurrection ritual. You could check to see if they, having gone through that process, still have this. I mean, Kato, medical mind, heck, your medical mind. You have 2 people who have gone through that process that you could cross-check before killing Duran. Unless you just want to kill Duran.
Maybe I just want to. I mean,
I'm like the nicest guy on this crew. What are you talking about?
For giggles, if you just were like, hey, let me kill you.
This is the only way to fix you, I think.
All right, Artagan.
Duran. So, I believe we were all under the impression that after removing the curse and healing you, that this was the end of that. Unfortunately, it seems as though this is going to be a potentially reoccurring thing. I do have some questions. I have a lot of questions. I'm sure you do too. And the only way to answer those is to go talk to a couple of individuals who I brought back from the dead, who suffer from this as well. If they are still showing symptoms, as you are, then we know that death is not a cure. Other than that, I know of no other option at the moment, and this will take a bit of time to try and figure out. But until then, I suggest you keep your friend in as tip-top shape as you, because it's a part of you at the moment.
You mean this is now my friend?
In a manner of speaking, it's another appendage you probably do not have control over. It's I don't know if it's parasitic in nature. I don't know if it's taking anything from you. I don't know if it's a symbiote of sorts. We
Can
don't
I
know
try
anything
to make
yet.
it reach out to Kato? Does it listen to my mental commands?
Roll me. No, it does not. It does not.
Darn. Well, the spider-like aspect is new and different. But I am not surprised by this information.
It must have lodged itself deep in the marrow of your bone. Would you mind removing your shirt for a moment? I'd love to
I don't
actually
wear
look
a
at
shirt.
or armor, whatever, like anything that's like if it's coming out of the shoulder, if there's anything that's
He's
like.
got like
his
a little
ripped-
harness on.
And his ripped up
Because he's
cloak.
missing a cloak.
Yeah, and we never figured out what happened to my cloak. I don't think I ever got it back.
Kato's going to kind of just inspect the area, not kind of without asking at this point, just kind of snooping around and looking. Fascinating. You have no control over this, do you?
No.
And after I speak with those individuals, I'm probably going to stick very close to you. As horrifically obscene as this is, I am incredibly curious. Just don't touch me with it, please.
Well, it's not. Don't touch it. I don't stay out of its range. I don't control it.
It's very long. It's very long. I'm not sure I could stay out of its range.
Yeah.
It's like this big.
How, Ron? Would you care to enlighten me on what it was that I encountered in those depths?
Was this in the? Kato's gonna immediately hone in on Haran now.
Well, I suppose it's only fair to tell you. Perhaps I should have before.
Perhaps.
It's just that's probably just that's essentially been the theme of everyone's entire voyage here. Continue, please.
Only 2 nights ago now, when I was sitting in the crow's nest, watching the stars, as I so often do, I was struck by a vision. The malevolent thing that my people fled between worlds through terrible, terrible dangers to reach this world seems to have found me here. That's what I think you encountered, Duran. That's what I think lies at the end of the canyon that we saw. Kato, you were below decks, but there was a break in the wall that leads to a dark, deep cave that I saw in this vision.
We're not going there, are we?
We have passed the canyon, at least for now.
That is not a comforting answer.
Well, if Howron needed your help with something, in the time that I've known you, I don't believe you would say no. Would you?
You're right.
I know, it's infuriating sometimes.
Shut up. Haran, continue.
There's
I just love all of this.
Perhaps I'm at a loss for what else to say. There have been other things, and he, at that point, pauses for a moment to glance at the new scars on his forearms, and of course the eyes were already commented on. But they are adjacent and truly not of bearing to what I saw and to what lurks at the end of the canyon. The only other thing of any possible import in the first vision was a broken sword. I saw it just momentarily elsewhere along the river, and I suspect we travel now towards whatever that part of the vision symbolized. Perhaps we'll find it close to Fitz.
Suppose we'll have to see. I am unaware of any swords that would be of use or broken ones. The only sword I've seen recently has been the one that is attached to the belt fiasco. So
I do hope they're unrelated.
I hope they are unrelated as well. That being said, the entire theme of this has been very uncomfortable interweavings. So I feel like all of these pieces have a part to play that we are unaware of. And the journey, I guess, is figuring that out, and I will assist you in any way I can from a safe distance.
Hauron chuckles at the last quip and says, "Thank you, Kato."
Can you still see all right? Does it mess with your vision in the light, or does it make your vision in the dark better? Like, what is new?
This choice was an aesthetic one. It honors an ancestor of mine who went through something terrible.
It's a choice?
Yes, my reptile eyes were a choice as well.
I thought it was because you wished to fit in with me and Duron and Otrek.
That was a lovely silver lining.
Well, we are still comrades despite the loss of your reptilian features. So I hope that you still feel as though we are your friends despite this aesthetic choice.
Absolutely.
And I am proud of you for honoring your lineage.
Thank you. Duran?
Well, I have a question for the DM. Duron's not super smart. But there's only ever been one other sword that he can think of.
Mm-hmm.
And knowing where, like, the trajectory of, like, about where we are, is it too much of a leap of logic to connect those dots?
It certainly could be what Duron believes.
Okay. Well, Hauron, what more can you tell me about this sword?
Sword. Well, precious little, I'm afraid. It merely came at the end of the vision, seemingly juxtaposed against the canyon and what lay at its end. It did appear as a constellation, which I took simply as a reflection of my affinity to the stars, but that may prove of assistance.
The vision that I saw that sort of started this journey included that primordial dragon crashing into our world. And I seem to recall a sword being the reason or wounded it, It's been a long time since I've thought about this, so I don't remember all the details.
That would explain why it's broken. Dragon scales are very hard. I don't know.
Something to ponder, at least.
As you all ponder, let's check in with Queta and Otrek. We are going to back up a little bit to yesterday afternoon, when y'all were going to further sort of secure the barrel and get it to Otrek's lab. Any other details you'd like to provide about that change, or we can go ahead and, depending if Queta would be checking in on Otrek in the barrel in the morning, we could jump to Otrek's lab this AM, whatever you all prefer.
I was thinking Queta would go in this morning.
Okay.
So, shall we go in there early?
Okay.
When there is knocking on Otrek's door, it is uncharacteristically loud.
How early are we talking here?
At this point, I would say it's past dawn, but I mean, it's not far past dawn. You know, it's
Okay.
30 minutes
So
past sunrise.
So I'm not quite at the basking on deck stage of the lizard life cycle, so to speak.
No.
But I would be awake, as that is one of the first things that Otrek enjoys doing. So an unnormal amount of loud knocking at the door. The door would open slightly. A lizard head would lean slightly towards the edge of it. Yes.
And Otrek would be greeted by, with its arms folded and its eyes like gleaming like that. What is it? That electric like purple? I imagine electric purplish.
Okay.
The Echo's eyes. It's just standing there with its arms folded very sternly, waiting for the door to open fully. Unchanging in expression, the Echo of the belt.
Yeah, so it's
armor.
Again, it still does look like you, but in full armor. So it is a fully armored Queta with these purple eyes.
I have an important question.
Yeah.
Is it wearing a hat?
I mean, it would be wearing its full plate, so it would be very distinctive in its helmet. I would say it's not a hat, but a helmet. Certainly not a Otrek hat, but
okay,
very, very unique compared to the other soft scales. I forget what you call them.
Soft skins.
Soft skins, yes.
I'm still not really about this entire like spooky armor thing.
I mean, can Otrek see like the entirety of the Shadow's profile? Like,
I would think so if they were knocking on the door, yeah.
Okay, I think through the crack in the door, you might see like clumsily placed atop its like armored helmet is a very plain wide-brimmed hat.
Yeah, I'm still not really trusting the spooky armor thing. We're gonna close the door and armor up beforehand. Door creaks closed, bandolier on, pack it with all of the accoutrements of destruction.
Otrek, what are you doing in there?
I'm assuming there is some ruckus involved with Otrek gathering.
Probably. He's not the most graceful lad of lizard.
Something falls.
It's fine. It's fine, I promise. It's probably not flammable. Yeah, there's going to be a bit of a delay. If you are yelling at me through the door, that's fine. I'm going to ignore it for now, because I imagine the armor has probably possessed your body at this point, and it's actually a spook talking to me. But we'll get to that when we get to it.
Otrek, it's Queta. I'm here to help you with the shard.
About 5 minutes pass as you don your equipment.
We're gonna make Queta and the spook armor just wait. If it busts in the door, that's a bad sign, but a good sign in a way, because it lets me know what's going on. Otherwise, 5 minutes later, Otrek will open the door again, stare down the armor, but actually open the door fully, looking around, seeing if they can see Queda beyond the spook armor.
Yeah, over it would be its left shoulder.
Mm-hmm.
Queda would be peeking over, and a little wave, just like hello.
Okay. Yes. The shard. Beady eyes will look between you and the echo, and then they'll kind of crab walk past it down towards the lab. Not really turning his back on it, though.
Okay.
That thing creeps me out. Like, as a player, it creeps me out, and as a character, yeah, I'm creeped out about that.
But it has the hat on it.
Yeah, now I can recognize that it's the haunted armor. Fantastic.
It's that and nothing else.
I mean, this is not reassuring. Like, the first thought I had was it has killed Queda and is wearing their hat. I don't know, man. Now we're gonna head to the lab. Not gonna keep my eyes off the armor. Gonna be focused on that.
Sort of walking sideways, back against the wall, ready, on a hair trigger. You sort of open up your lab. I was gonna say your lab. Any special way that it has to be opened, or just that it's your lab and most people know not to go near it, because dear God, no one knows what could happen.
Yeah, I think the reputation is what protects it. I mean, it's probably got a lock just for the sake of I don't know who's here, and it can be like accidental that someone opens it, but it's just like a simple turn lock, like flip a key. Nothing big.
Yeah. So you pop open the door and go in, followed by this armor and Queda, definitely giving the stink eye the whole way.
Queda's just like trying to adjust the hat to make sure that it's like straight. No. And because it's like she's trying to like adjust it over like a helmet, it's just not like staying on properly.
Yeah, it keeps falling off.
All right. Yeah, I'm going to poke and prod gently at the barrel, inspecting the seals, sigils, and wards that have been carved around it.
Yep. Go ahead and do me an investigation check with advantage, as it's your stuff.
I think that's with advantage. Well, not bad. I'll take it.
22. You do notice, even with all of the protections, knowing that it's the lead barrel inside of the salt, inside of the external barrel, and with all of these protective things you put on it, certainly not to the rate that you saw with the, just shard laying on the deck, but you do find some small spaces as you sort of prod them, kind of ice pick-like tool, where it has started to have that same corruptive desiccation that you had seen, but not nearly to the level as before. I mean, it is, Otrek certainly, and with a 22, with your knowledge of power sources and arcane power sources and things like that, trying to contain such things is not just a bread and butter thing. It is arcane energy wants to be free. It is by nature chaotic, and so to try to fully contain something that you've anticipated by even trying to make a containment unit for in your engine,
we're in trouble.
It is the reactor's leaking, but not bad. As bad.
I don't know how much more she could take, Captain.
Yeah.
All right. Oh, that's not good. Otrek is going to look harried, and the frills on the frills and spine are going to prick up a little bit. The wattle's going to color. Yes, this is not good. Queda.
Otrek?
You are good with manufacturing things.
Yes, it's It's part of what I do. You did say that I'm very good at what I do, which I did appreciate that compliment.
That is very true. It makes you remarkable. Sometimes I even
I
remember
think you're
what you
very
look like.
remarkable too, Otrek. Thank you.
I
She's still
need-
just trying to balance this hat.
I need a few things. And I'm going to need Cato's help.
Oh, all right. I don't think that should be much of a problem. I don't think Kato would be preoccupied right now.
And I'm going to need Duran's help.
Oh, well, I'm sure Dron would be glad to help. And since
Fantastic.
he doesn't really have much in the way of active duties right now, I'm sure that he'd be more than willing to volunteer his hand.
Would you mind sending your Spectre off to get them?
Well, I'm learning a little bit more about this, and it seems we're a bit of a package deal, as it turns out. We can't
Excellent.
stay too far from each other.
Then please leave and go get them.
Oh, of course. All right.
Get that damn thing out of my lab, man.
She goes to leave. The armor starts to follow her out, and she peeks her head in again quickly as she's going out and says, "By the way," and when she says this, the armor immediately like whips around with
Oh shit.
its eyes glowing like purple. I hope you appreciate the use of the hat. I finally decided to put it to good use. I'm making sure that our new friend here is a bit more inviting.
Yes, it is very good. I'm lying my ass off. Yeah, my plan here, by the way, Tall Skull, is I'm just going to keep escalating whatever rewards I can get. What I'd like to do is get Duran and Kato in on this plan. I want to take some seawater that is purified, not corrupted by any of the taint, hence why I need Duran to give it the pass. And I'd like Kato to bless it. And then I'm going to take that seawater, distill it down so that I have holy salt. And then we're going to pack a block of stone rather than like a lead barrel or anything like that the dwarf is going to carve, so that maybe I can get like some. We're starting to get like multiple elements here. I've got earth and I've got water and I've got salt. I'm going to powder some silver. I'm just looking for more options to preserve this thing while I figure out how the shit am I going to get this into the reactor and make it work.
Okay.
Like, problem 1, make sure it doesn't rot through the boat. Problem 2, make sure that we can transplant or teleport with it somehow, maybe.
The only thing, and I think Otrek would be aware of this, is you're in a river now, which isn't salt water. But
We can bless some salt. I don't mind.
Yep, that works as well.
I will pour salt into the water. We will have a ritual with it, with the Fathomless Depths Warlock. I don't know, maybe like...
Dude, we can make this work. I'm here for it. I'm here for some deep water H3O bullshit.
Hey, I'm not that kind of warlock. I don't vomit up salt water.
No. What we're going to do is we're going to make Biriana play a bunch of sad songs.
Oh, just cry. Have Duran cry enough to fill a barrel. I love it.
What saved your
freaking
party in the
Enya.
end? Warlock tears.
Yeah.
For what
Warlock
it's
tears.
worth, I have ceremony.
Ooh,
Okay.
Nice. No, that's a great thing to throw into this crazy ass mix. I love it.
So,
We're just
which
gonna have
one
a
of
lot
us is
of
marrying
Enya, a lot
Duran?
of Sarah McLachlan.
You do understand I am going to pull up the Artificer's Tango again. It's going to happen.
Oh my god.
But first.
Yeah. So hearing that, I mean, Queta has a high insight, but I don't think she's going to push further on it. She's just going to say, "Oh, that's good to hear. I'll make sure to keep doing things like that to make sure that you're more acclimated to its presence."
Fantastic.
The echo is just staring.
Yeah.
And
Can it blink?
No, not really. It's
I
just kind of
swear
lightning,
the only thing it
purple
probably can do
lightning
is
eyes.
wink. I swear when it winks at me, I'm done. I'm done.
I
I'm done.
think it's funnier. I think it's funnier if it doesn't. it just doesn't change expression.
Yeah, it's
So
just
it'll just
it is this stoic shadow version of Queta with a hat.
Yeah, that's not any more reassuring. Thank you.
That might be worse. So,
Yeah,
while
so she
Queta
looks
is going
around
to go
it.
off and go collect people, we're going to check in with Baldir. So, and these conversations take some time. So you've been up on deck probably for an hour, hour and a half or so, as the morning begins to pass. And the biggest thing, once you pass, this canyon that you had been station keeping at, the sort of mountainous confines of the river have just keep getting taller and taller. This fjord you're traveling down, which was originally 500 to 600 feet wide, has now sort of narrowed to probably less than 300. And the slopes that before were just sort of treacherously steep, now kind of more often than not have become just vertical cliff faces. There's still portions of it where it is just steep, but you're getting more and more cliff faces that just plummet down into the depths. I mean, this whole, as you stand there, even as a Luxodon, there is starting to become this sort of closeness feeling about these walls sort of getting closer to the ship and also getting taller and taller. There's almost like this weird feeling, almost that you felt with the diminution Drake, of just getting reduced, of just feeling smaller and smaller. I mean, just for example, the whale's whisker is like 200 feet long. So I mean, we're getting now that to maneuver and to do a 180, well, not impossible. It's 300 feet wide. It's gonna be you're gonna be K-turning this maybe if type idea. But the other thing you notice is that the temperature on the river has continued to drop. You even notice some of the crew starting to bring out sort of light cloaks. And in fact, you see probably more than you normally have Otrex hats on people's heads, more for the reason to sort of conserve heat than anything else. Certainly the recognition piece that they know that Otrex knows that they're a friend and not, dinner. But out there on the river, it's just, you're starting to get this more and more feeling of sort of claustrophobia and just this sort of tight course that you are laying in. Also out on the deck, you do see that Lars and Nerial, the cook, basically have now taken the ballistas and loaded them with harpoons and are shooting these sort of six-legged goat creatures, restocking the larder. Because as you are well aware, basically all the food on the ship was destroyed by the corruption. And so, but you see them up there sort of trying to restock the larder. You also see Ollie flying back and forth, picking up, dropping off. He's able to pick up Edgar, the dwarf, the older dwarf, and sort of drop them off a little bit ahead where he sort of seems to be harvesting some greens, vegetables, tubers and such up on the things and bringing them back, trying to sort of get, again, restocked with food, as all you've had is conjured food for the last 48 hours or so since the corrupted reef. Where's Baldir at? Just sort of mentally.
Great question here. This is between the experience with the diminution Drake, between that feeling of the walls coming in a little and making his large and boisterous, loud, big frame kind of feel like it's curling in a little bit, and also the moment with his long known and dear friend Hauron. This is a day or at least a very short time frame where I don't know if Baldir has ever felt smaller, in both the physical sense and his mental sense. Losing Hauron's name and face for a second really has rattled him. I think even more so than that weird vision quest he went on with Hauron. As kind of like dramatic and heavy as that was, the moment of losing connection with his friend is what's really got him up in here lately. And as they're getting further and further down the river, there's this contentment and kind of return to normalcy of seeing them restock, the rest of the crew hard at work and everything, and it's kind of making him reminisce a little bit about some of the folks back home, still very vibrant in his mind. Dawson and others that he spent many years with, but that moment of forgetting Hauron makes him wonder if there's a possibility that coming to this world, if somehow he got lost to the folks that he's hoping to see again as well, and how he's going to navigate that if and when that moment happens. So really, it's this I hate kind of shutting him off, but man, it's like really heavy to never forget a single thing in your life and then finally forget something and have no idea how it happened. So I think Baldir's trying to unlock the puzzle of what the hell happened and what can I do to not forget and not be forgotten.
Okay. Queta, you can go and find Duran and Kato at Otrek's request, and sort of pass along them being summoned, so to speak.
Yeah. So she comes up to them and says, Duran, Kato, good morning. I hope you're both doing well.
There's a large spider leg sticking out of my
correct.
shoulder.
Giant
So
is correct.
a mixed day.
Oh, that wasn't there before.
I'm glad you noticed.
It's fashionable?
Told him it was a drastic change. He probably should have polished his horns or something if he wanted us to notice. I told him that this was a very dire and probably unnecessary thing to go through, but he never listens to me.
That's not true.
Well,
You heard it here first.
I just don't always do what you say. What can we help you with, Queda?
oh, well, I think Otrek is summoning us to help give him a leg up. I'm sorry, that was so rude. He's asking for us to give him some help with the shard.
Takes Duran a second to connect those dots on why that was rude, but then he's just
I get it because
scorns
he has
at
an
you.
extra leg.
Well, yeah, but I'm sure if it's something that you wanted to try, I don't know if I would have put that on your arm, but if it's, I'm sure you can make it work.
Queda, sometimes less is more. Let's go
Okay.
see Otrek.
Sure.
So you all head down to the lab. Otrek, what are you doing in the lab now you've had a moment alone with this barrel?
Well, the barrel problem is in solvency. It's something we're working on in the long term, or rather, like short to midterm, I guess.
Mhm.
That's a weird one. It's not a problem I can solve right now, so we're working on other problems. We're at the chalkboard, and we're trying to figure out what metamagic and metaphysical concepts I can leverage to make this work with the plans I already had. And I can't imagine this is going well, or it's anything that anyone on the ship wants to look at and try and do the math on with me.
Okay. For expediency, we'll say that you explain to them your sort of plan of salt and water and runes and blessings, and just
multiple
adding
elements and
more and more to this. As you all are talking, and it's Otrek, so this has taken a good hour or so or more.
Ouch, my heart.
To explain and re-explain and back up and fill in details that were left out when you kind of hear a little rap on the door.
I was about to hit, if you said the barrel.
Yeah, I was going to say.
I was scared.
It hatched.
Yeah.
No.
The echo from the belt turns and immediately faces the door and is just like staring at it.
All of you immediately begin to sort of smell wonderful cooked smells of sort of savory meats and greens and stuff. And you see Nirial walk in with this huge platter of roasted sort of savory meats. Behind him, you see Edgar with a sort of small, not even a pony keg, probably a quarter keg, sort of over his shoulder, sort of ingenious tap device that Otrek has made for him, sort of offering out food, knowing that most people have been surviving on sustained, conjured food for the last 2 days, and just starts sort of offering it around.
Maybe not in the lab, next to the death crystal.
Would you rather eat somewhere next to the spider leg?
I mean, he
I
can't
don't
really
have a
get away
choice
from
in
it.
that matter.
I hate to do this to everyone, but are they like freaked out by the freaking echo just staring at them?
They,
Because I don't think I told
believe
them
it or
about
not, I mean, the big thing with Biriana's crew, they've been through a lot. And so I think there's almost that, okay, something that's, just add it to the list.
Same shit, different day.
Some people have shadow clones now that are like creepy and whatever. Some people have spider legs growing out of them. Whatever.
I'm just trying to cook. Nirial's just trying to cook. You do see Edgar does seem somewhat almost an embarrassed look on his face as he starts to hand out tankers of ale.
Thank you for.
Are you feeling all right?
We've had booze on this boat this entire time.
Otrek just kind of looks at Duran and says, "You can ferment anything, friends." He points at a couple of different bottles.
And with that question, Edgar sort of goes, honestly, I'm not proud of serving this up, but the first keg I tapped smelled of my great uncle's rotten feet. But after I dumped it out and was washing the keg, the smell, it disappeared almost instantly. Gave a taste to the wash water and the dregs, and of it being watered down, it seemed fine again. So, ancestors, forgive me. I watered this keg down, but it drinks fine, if not a little watery compared to my normal dwarven drink.
Is there a window in this room?
Not in the lab, no.
No. Many of these things can't be exposed to light without exploding.
So Duron's just had this epiphany. Order of operations. First things first. Thank you for the food. We'll come back to that. Otrek, let's take this out onto the deck.
Why?
I have an idea.
I think I know where you're going with this.
And I will explain along the way.
Yeah,
I think we should test the idea.
And I'll just like go through this whole like explanation of how like my connection through the waters has been very rejuvenating, and I think there's something to them, and if it was able to clean out the keg, maybe it can clean out the shard.
But
It's not what I had in mind.
But do we trust someone that's got a spider leg growing out of them?
To pull a phrase from Duron earlier, I don't think we have much of a choice.
I will help, or, well, I'm not asking for permission.
Okay, you're going for the forgiveness route, all right? He's gonna run off with the barrel.
Again?
It's mine now.
Again, this is the take you're going for again.
I asked nicely.
That's fair. I'm for it. I mean, it's not like you can make it any worse.
Do you have any objections, Otrek?
We are running blanks on how to effectively handle this shard. Any idea at this point would, she takes a bite out of whatever the food is, probably be very useful to us.
Otrek shrugs, says, after this, let's just light it on fire. Let's see what happens.
I would rather not.
We haven't tried it yet.
Oh, I hate when you use that. I hate when you use that to get what you want. Because I can't say no, because we're doing the same thing for Duron.
Science demands we ask questions.
My question is why?
My question is why not?
Because when I was going through this condition that I now have, the waters are soothing to me.
Oh no, I'm talking about turning things on. I'm talking about trying to blow it on fire. I feel like we're fine with your plan.
That's probably a bad idea. Yes, you're correct. I'm sorry.
No, we don't know this yet. We don't know this yet.
Queta turns over to...
Have you tried being on fire for the leg?
I hate you both.
If you light me on fire, it will end badly.
Oh, Neriel,
have we tried
the food you've made is absolutely lovely.
He sort of... It seemed as though he was distracted by something, and thank you very much.
Otrek soda voce to Kato. Have I set Duron on fire? I don't remember trying that.
We did not try that, no.
We should try that.
DM question, who died again?
It was Edgar. And it was Edgar, who is there with you right now, and it was also Jadefist, the monk. Stand by, I know her first name. Kareth, Jadefist, the monk.
Excellent. Okay. I guess while Duron is kind of moving all of this upstairs, can I sit back and just check Edgar real quick?
Sure. Roll me a medicine check with advantage, and the DC will of course be lower because you know what you're looking for.
Yeah, I don't want to pull us away from the main story too long. 16.
Yeah, on a 16, he does seem to still have be affected by this, but it does not seem to have manifested as quickly as Duron's has.
So death is not a cure. Okay. And then just goes up without any other explanation.
If Neriel is still down there, Queta is going to try and strike up a conversation with him. She's going to continue saying things about the food, saying, thank you again. I know it's been a very difficult this must have been very difficult for you to make and for you to come by. And I just wanted to say it's really appreciated that you're able to bring us something like this, even in such a difficult situation. And she's going to start rambling like that a little bit.
Nerial, as you know, is kind of prickly. Kind of looks at you and kind of is just like, yeah. And then just kind of turns and starts to walk out.
Is Nerial, is everything all right? Something the matter?
Just keeps walking.
Just like after the everything that's happening, all the commotion, or
Yeah, I mean, basically, has served food. You've got Kato taking care of Edgar, and Nerial has moved on to go give food to the rest of the crew. But yeah, he's not one for conversation. He is has been threatening to many of you in the past with his when he's in his kitchen with his cleaver. He seems a little bit like he's feeling a little out of his element, not having his knives and cleavers around him. And I would even say it does seem odd. You can't recall the last time you've seen him out of the kitchen, and offering a platter of food seems very out of character.
in that case, Quato would also add, it was also very gracious of you to come out and serve this to us personally. It's been a long time since I've seen you even step foot outside of the kitchen.
You hear steps go. You hear footsteps going up the ladder.
Can I have the echo cut him off?
You can try.
Sure. It can appear at like, what is it? I mean, I guess it can like teleport like 15 feet in front of me.
I'd say he's probably further down the hall at this point.
Okay. I think the echo would just kind of watch threateningly as he leaves. And Quato would just kind of walk behind it saying, I am very curious as well. And they both walk up together to join the watch on the shard.
Okay. Duron, as you get up on deck and sort of with your plan, you sort of touch base, being the navigator, almost out of habit, immediately sort of checking the currents. And you will notice immediately that the depth of the river, y'all are also all stricken, having first now come on deck, seeing how the walls have gotten closer and taller. But the biggest thing that affects Duron is just how deep that the depth just plummets below you, even beyond your natural ability to sense, 1,000 feet down into the depths. And just again, navigation wise, river, you all are now running almost due north as the river is flowing southward, sort of having curved around the mountains. And all of you would notice as you sort of look around, you are sort of headed up this canyon towards a tight grouping of peaks in the distance that is much larger than the rest.
And I want to just make sure I understood this correctly. The river is is super deep. Is that what you were saying, or it is super shallow?
Super
okay.
deep.
That's
yeah, just plummets. Like literally, right. you can sense the depth of water up to 1,000 feet, and you can't sense the bottom.
Do I get any of that?
Oh yeah, as soon as you touch the water and send your consciousness down there, the that same sort of soothing feeling over you, and even the foreignness, that sort of alienness of the spider leg seems to be not as prevalent.
I think y'all will watch Duron kind of like just take a few calm breaths as he's like connecting to that water, before it's like, oh, I have a mission here, and there was a reason why I'm doing all this. The barrel, we moved the barrel onto the deck now, correct? And it's like in that, it's like in a barrel filled with salt in a lead box.
Yeah, the shard in a lead barrel in a salt-filled barrel that's carved with runes and wards.
With the wrench in the kitchen.
Colonel Mustard.
Yeah, the candlestick. Yeah, with Colonel
Got
Mustard.
it. Okay. This may affect everyone, so perhaps we should wait for everyone to gather with us?
Baldir's already up there, so...
It would just be Howron and Queda that we're missing? Or has
I think
Howron been following us?
Howron went back on deck when Queda came to get you. Because if you were going to go do box stuff, a navigator is needed up top. So.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, and then
So I'm
Queda would
around.
have
I'm
been
in the
like,
crow's nest.
yeah, Queda would have been like following up after that kind of weird conversation. She's kind of focused on like looking for Nerial right now, but she also wants to watch, obviously, the funkiness with the shard.
Yeah, he would have headed across the deck towards the kitchen, back with the platter. You do see that he does, other people sort of come up to him and grab food off of it, but he doesn't seem to be quite as gracious with the rest of the crew.
Well, I have an idea that I want to try out, but given how I have acted independently in the past, I believe I should seek counsel before I make any rash decisions.
Big thumbs up from Baldir.
The waters in this area have some sort of restorative properties. Blah 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 blah. Goes through the whole spiel again. I don't want to rehash that again for the 10th time.
Yeah.
And so I want to take the shard out of this sealed container and put it in the water.
I mean, Otrek isn't objecting to that. It's got to come out of the box one way or another when we put it into another box. So if you want to throw it in the ocean in the meantime, I don't mind. Or rather, the river. It runs through it.
What do we do if your plan does not work? Simply replace it in, and he gestures then to, the barrel, everything else included.
Duron's gonna look over at Otrek.
I think Otrek, this is where you put it into the new containment unit.
Yeah, hopefully we'll have everything together so that it may be contained at that point. If not, we see what happens.
All right. Well, if no one objects, the water sphere that is his amulet kind of glows for a second and starts emitting a vast quantity of water, and it forms into that claw-shaped hand. And I'm going to use my Big B's hand spell to pick up the shard.
So you're opening up the barrels and then...
Yep.
Okay. So, as you sort of crack open the wooden barrel, I don't know, yeah, are you using Big B's hand to do this, or is Otrek, are you going to have a certain way to open this?
Oh, hell no. We're going to let the mage folk do this shit.
Okay.
Yeah, I would also, don't want anybody touching it.
Yeah. So as you crack that open, Otrek, just your curiosity and also your with your perception, as opposed with what's
I do dumb stuff.
the thing that you will notice is that the salt, which was, like rock salt when you put it in there before, has begun to crystallize. It is actually very similar to like the fulminite. That as Bigby's hand pulls out the lead barrel in between, you see that sort of running off. As it comes out, it has these sort of salt crystalline structures that sort of emanate out, almost like, again, frozen lightning, but now in salt crystals. As you pull this out of the salt barrel, and then place it down upon the deck, and then unless y'all want to stop at this point, we'll crack open the lead one.
Let's go. Let's do it.
So you
I'm
cracking open the lead one, your watery claw sort of reaches in and pulls it out. And as you do, you hear a cry of pain. Ah! From up in the forecastle.
Okay. Do we recognize the voice?
You do.
Who'd that be?
It is Kareth. And you see a large spine, one of these corruption spines, has erupted out of her right thigh.
Fantastic.
As the shard has now been exposed and outside of its containment.
So at this point, how many spider legs does Duran have?
He still
one.
He still only has one.
Just one. Okay.
But Kareth, who you all would have seen over the course of the morning, did not have a spine coming out of her leg, and now she does.
And that's a normal one, right?
Yeah, normal one, not spider.
For what level of normal?
I mean, this is not normal.
Normal.
There are the normal spines that erupt out of your body when you're touched by corrupted magic. Then there's this bullshit.
Yes,
no,
right, exactly.
They all have normal. They're putting the kibosh on the whole damn thing, man.
So you have the shard in hand. What would you like to do with it?
Yeah, I'm gonna look around, hearing that cry, and just kind of, I'm going to actually jump off the side of the boat and bring the hand down with me. And as I get close to the water, I'm gonna do that thing where I freeze, pull it up towards me and freeze it into a platform so I can stand on top of the water.
Okay.
And then just as far as I can push the shard down into the water.
Okay. As you push it deeper, what's the range on Bigby's hand? 60?
I can move it 60 feet every round.
And then when does it get out of
action.
range? When does it get out of range?
Oh, out of range. The range is only 120 feet.
So yeah, because I remember that from bouncing the fish back before.
Yeah, if I don't sense anything happening, we'll see. But up to its max range, and then we'll see where it goes from there.
So as you push it down into the water, and sort of, again, use that sort of watery perception of yours, a couple things happen. You feel the sort of soothing effect on yourself reduced as this has entered into the water and seems to be pulling away from it. And even over the course of, we'll say the 30 seconds of the boat's movement forward, you moving forward along with the boat, the water flowing by, you can just sense a thick trail of corruption that you're leaving in your wake.
That's not good. This is a bad idea. Duran's gonna shout out to everyone. I think I need to go deeper. I wouldn't advise following, but I won't stop you if you wish to join me.
Oh yeah, we're going over the edge. Doop.
Sploosh.
Halron casts water breathing on everybody who wants it.
And I'll just lead the charge. Going. How fast do I move underwater again?
You go really fast, like 90, something
Yeah.
crazy.
Faster
bullshit.
than
Something
the rest of us.
stupid crazy.
Yeah. Again, we're not in combat, so we don't need to worry too much about it. So, who all jumps in?
Oh yeah, Otrek's all about that.
Otrek, Duron, Baldir, Kato, Queda?
Question.
Okay, yeah.
Question. How? It's getting perilous in the river. How much
So,
is like?
I do want to check in with you before you do that, because literally my next set of notes is
All right.
basically, Baldir, you would know this. Navigation would be all but impossible with sailing this vessel if it wasn't for your control of the wind. There are sort of erratic, spiraling gusts that howl both up and down the canyon as you all have traveled further into it. And then there's also periods of dead calm where you all would basically just be station. You would be dead in the water, actually being pushed backwards because of the current. In fact, you know that within the next couple hours, if this continues and things continue to escalate this way, you probably will need both Halran and Duran's help with controlling the water as well as you controlling the wind to continue upriver.
Okay, so knowing that, Baldir unfortunately will stay back and just make sure the ship isn't tossed into a wall or anything.
Yeah.
Well, at least he did ask for help. If you wouldn't mind, I'm gonna try to keep this thing afloat.
Yeah, Queda is a bit concerned with both Nirial and like the damage that's happening among the crew members. So she's actually going to make sure nothing weird happens on the boat as well.
Okay. Duran, Halran, Otrek, as you jump down and dive deeper, and your hand is translucent. You can see. Well, that's the other good question. Are you looking at the shard? Or are you just sensing it with your depth? Yeah. Are you getting eye line on this shard?
I think even Duron's smart enough to know that the last time he looked directly at it, it turned badly for him.
Yeah.
We are not going in on having our eyeballs seared with various eldritch runes and spooky crap. No.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. And then, of course, Otrek told him about what happened to Queda. Definitely not looking at it.
No. Last time that happened, I pulled a gun on someone. I don't want to do that on myself.
Yeah. Okay.
Seems tedious.
Bigby's hand only lasts for 1 minute.
Okay. So for a minute.
So I'm tempted to just let it drop deep as it goes, and I'll just follow it.
Oh no.
Okay.
I don't know how well that will work. If it falls faster than I do, that might be a bad idea. But if I can keep
it's gravity.
pace with
It's
it,
gonna fall. It's gonna fall with some resistance in the water. It's heavy, but it's only gonna fall as fast as something would fall, whereas you can swim downward. So you would be able to pace it. I think all of you would be able to pace it.
I'll do that.
So the other two of you, what's your plan on this? Are you all looking at the shard? Are you all looking at Duran? How are you just there for moral support? What's going on?
Halron is there to keep it to be the link in the middle between the boat and whatever Duran's doing.
Okay.
So, and just to keep an eye and make sure that we're not going to run into a big, school eels again or anything like that.
Gotcha.
So definitely not looking at the shard, trusting Duran to do his thing, and being ready to cast, a control water if stuff goes wrong or something like that.
Okay.
Or tidal wave, yeah.
Cool. Duran swing downwards. Otrek, are you sticking with Duran? Are you sticking with Halran? Or are you doing your own thing?
We're going to try and pursue the shard, regardless of whether Duran or Haran are sticking with it. I know Duran's going down as well. Probably is going to outpace me, but Otrek doesn't care. He's just curious.
So you've already made clear you're not looking at it. So how are you tracking this shard?
That's a good question. Let me think about it. In that case, what I'm going to do is I'm going to fix my visage on Duran's back and follow him.
Okay.
Also, I had a thought. I kind of want to leave, I'm not looking at it, though. I can't do that.
How much light
there
is down there?
I mean, it's like any water. As you get deeper and deeper, I mean, it will get darker and darker. Duron has 90 feet of blind sight in water, though, so
it's going to refract light until we get down to the bottom because of the extra crystallization on the outside of it. If that's any help whatsoever, until you lose all light.
yeah. I mean, it's all about whether you all are looking at it. Really, I think it's being able to look at it would not be a problem. It's whether or not you choose to look at it, knowing what it did to you all before back at the Vile Reef. As a DM, I kind of need to know. I mean, basically, in my mind, what's happening is Duram all but has his eyes closed and is kind of using, call it echolocation for a Fathom Warlock, to sort of feel how this thing falls through the currents. That's, in my mind, how I'm perceiving what's happening, since people have said that they are not looking at this, and that the other people are looking at Duran to know which direction to go, unless you have some other way you want to play this. I'm trying to interpret the scene.
I actually might. Give me just one briefest moment. I
Okay.
need to look at something.
Somebody could cast light on me.
I mean, I can do that. Consider it
Yeah,
done.
if I can get to somebody, I can help with light.
The other question is, what is the range on Detect Magic?
30 feet.
Not enough. Cool. Never mind.
Okay. So, Duran says that he is going to have to go deeper. And you all see Bigby's hand, which had sort of been this watery, almost illusionary looking, it's where the water is diffracted differently from the hand, just sort of disappears. And keeping your eyes on Duran, see him to start to swim lower as you are assuming he has some kind of detection on what is happening. Halran, I need you to do a wisdom saving throw for me. Nice. You, not wanting to look at this shard, you sort of reach out with your sort of druidic senses of being able to sense life and the other aspects. And so you're able to also detect this just torrent of corruption flowing downstream off of this. Doesn't seem to abate at all. And on a 29, you kind of feel an iciness in your chest. The cave is down current, and this huge influx of corruption is flowing straight towards it. It's past a fork, but you don't know which way it's going to flow. I would have said that Duran would, but he ain't smart. This, as it's plummeting through downward.
I will call out to Duran and say, we need to do whatever we're going to do, or take the shard back out of the water. The corruption is too much.
Any change in the shard that I can notice? Is it working at all?
You do
or is
not
it just like or did I just pollute the river?
You do not see any. You do not feel, because you can't see, any reduction in the corruption flowing off of it. It seems, this is a powerful thing. as it starts again to plummet downward.
Okay. How far down are we?
I would say in this amount of time, 300 or 400 feet. I mean, y'all, it's dropping fast.
Okay.
Would clairvoyance help?
Remind me, clairvoyance.
I'm literally going through like all my spells.
Click on it and let me take a read of it.
Oh, casting time's 10 minutes. Never mind.
Okay, yeah.
Nope.
Yeah, let it fall for 10 minutes.
All right. Well, that's not working and seems to be making things worse. This is gonna suck, but Duran will picture the deck of the Whale's Whiskers in his mind, reach out and touch the crystal and dimension door back on deck.
Okay, then. I need you to roll me a D100 twice.
I don't like these D100s you keep making me do.
You all see, because you had
21?
your eyes on him, Duran disappear.
And a 90.
And you land up on deck as you take 7 points of damage, as right next to the other one, with a bit of almost like carapace in between, another spider leg pops out, as though something is emerging from your shoulder.
Oh. Like it's working its way out of me, or
like you see now 2 legs with the joints and the things that would connect them. It's not just 2 individual legs. It is 2 individual legs connected by a small piece of body. Of carapace.
That sucks.
And the shard is right there next to you.
Yeah.
Otrek is down below. Kato's down below. Halrun's down below. Baldir's trying to keep this boat on course.
While I'm underwater, everybody, I think, within a certain range of me can hear me speak. So I would have told them what I'm doing and tell them to come back up.
Yeah, but they don't swim as fast
Yeah,
as the dimension door.
But, yeah, just not to leave them hanging in the water like, what the fuck did he just do?
So, Meta, you were saying you were following Nirial?
Yeah, I think she would have been concerned with Jade Fist having the thing coming out of her leg, but because she's not really medically trained, she can't really do much about that. And right now, I think her focus would be on following Nirial, seeing what he's up to.
So you follow Nirial into the kitchen, where you find Edgar writhing on the floor, the other person who had perished from the spines, with a spine coming out of him.
Oh no. This is awful. What? How long has this been happening?
He just looks. It just happened. It's like when those things were attacking us back at the vial. And you see, it seems to sort of come out of the right portion of his chest, and whereas the other ones have not been necessarily bloody, this one seems to have sort of air bubbles, as though it somehow punctured his lung.
Ooh. Fantastic. How is Niriel taking all this?
Niriel is trying to help. He kind of looks at you and goes, "I'll go find Kato," and runs, back towards where Kato's quarters are, the surgery, as he was the person who had actually helped carry them in there before.
So I guess well, wouldn't I think Quato would know that Kato actually jumped to follow Duran at this point, right? So she she would probably at least call. Wait, Kato is, but I think at that point he
Oh,
would have
yeah.
already gone away. So I guess, yeah, I guess right now the first thing I think Kato will do is make an Arcana check just to
Okay.
check out what exactly is going on with the spikes if she can.
Okay, you can do an Arcana check. With the 22, I mean, basically you had gotten the gist of what was going on with the spider leg. It seems to be similar, but doesn't have that same arachnid feel to it. We're going to move things up a little bit. So up on deck, you hear Biriana yell out with a sploosh of Duran landing on the deck. What the hell's going on?
Duran's gonna ignore her for a minute and pull up some water using shape water from the river, and then it can be a 5-foot cube of water, which is a lot of water, and I'm just gonna wrap it around the shard and freeze it in place.
You,
if I can.
I was going to say, it is now out of the water. How are you locating the shard, as there are no currents for you to follow?
Yeah, well, I touched it, so I know it's next to me.
Yep. So you're just going to do a big old sort of blind freeze?
Yeah, just like, it's right here, and try and,
Do me a your spellcasting check.
Okay. Oh, guys. I never roll well when I need to. That's a 10.
On a 10, you don't know what happens.
I freeze somebody else solid.
Yeah, I mean, you threw a sheet, a cube of ice next to you where you felt that this shard would be. But unless you look, you don't know whether you got it or not at this point, as things are unraveling quickly. Down, back underwater. Halron, you said that you were staying closer to the ship, so I'll say you're probably at this point, you could be emerging from the water down at the ship's edge. Otrek and Kuma would be down deeper, just because your swim speed's not as fast.
I would. Is Halron still in tune with the river and the corruption that's flowing down?
You certainly can be, but that will be a part of sort of your movement during this.
I was going to say that I'll probably end up being in the water the longest. I would like to maintain that connection, and can I cast Control Water to pull Otrek and Kato along?
Sure. I'll let you basically give them a boost, sort of a favorable current to get them to the surface faster.
Then that's what I'd like to do. I'll cast Control Water, pull those two up as fast as I can, while maintaining that connection, really to see which direction that stream of corruption starts to go.
Cool. So, as you hear back there up on deck, Queta, you, again, sort of doing triage there. Duran, you hear a shout as Biriana yells out in pain, as none of these people have seen the shard, as it was been down in the rooms and then put away in barrels. As she looks at the shard, and you hear her scream in pain as she had looked at the shard. Edgar's busy. Lars is going to need to make one as well. On a 17, you hear Lars, who might have caught something out of the corner of his eye, just in pain. Kirith is up on the front of the deck with the spine, so she does not look back at you. But both Lars and Biriana, you hear them shout out in pain, sort of that a pain you are familiar with. Baldir, let's come back to you for a second. You hear the sploosh on the deck. The big question is, do you look in that direction? I mean, you know they were messing with the shard. It's however you want to play it.
Focused on keeping the ship
That
in
is
shape.
100% legitimate.
I will probably yell out and just like question like, it sounds like things have not gone to plan back there. Do you need a hand, or should I continue to focus on making sure we don't dash ourselves against the rocks?
Do me a your casting modifier spell save. So I guess that would be a charisma saving throw. As you hear a shout, go ahead. 21 is enough. As you hear a shout come out from Biriana, as it seems as she suddenly is suffering from a great amount of pain and is taken to her knees, spinning the wheel, and you are having to correct the fact that she's now spun the wheel to keep it from ramming into one of the walls of the canyon. Duron, we're back to you.
Yep, and all of a sudden I'm thinking, I could have just frozen the damn thing before I touched it. And that would have been a lot better. Yeah, okay. So, fuck it. Doing it blindly didn't work. I don't know what's going on here. Did Kato and Otrek make it back up with the control water, or are they like...
Not yet. I'd say they're probably going to be arriving at the surface at the end of whatever you're about to do.
Yeah. Great. I'll shout out to everyone. Don't look at the shard! Don't look at it, no matter what you do. And I'm gonna look at it and try to freeze it again.
Okay. Do me an intelligence saving throw.
Yeah, great. Where's my D20? There it is. That's a 1.
You take 33 points of psychic damage.
Yikes.
As in close range, you see that basically your block of ice got half of it, but the other half of the shard is sort of is hanging out from it. And as you look at it, you feel this like iron brands searing into the scleras of your eye. But actually on a natural 1, I don't think you're able to, with the pain and the searing of your eyes, I'm going to say
Can I beg for a concentration check to see if I can still cast my spell?
You can do a concentration check.
Cool. I have advantage on concentration checks and a really good.
Oh, I'm giving you disadvantage then. I want this a flat roll. We're flat rolling this, buddy.
Well, that's a 16, 20. That's a 20.
So 20, you would have had to have a 15 because it's half the damage. So I will say you can cast your spell.
Sweet. Freeze it in place. I also think I can change the color of the water, and or its opacity. So it is now. You can't. It's like a solid block of like black ice that you can't see through.
Cool. So you see a block of black ice.
How's my little friend doing?
It does not seem to have actually with the because you looked at it. No, you got to roll me 2d100s again.
Well, hey, a 92. Well, that was not the right dice, but I wish I could keep it. And an 85.
You might not have been noticing, but high numbers are not good. You see 2 more legs and sort of half of a spider thorax, whatever the center section of a spider is.
So I've just got a spider emerging out of my body.
Pretty much.
Great.
The legs are definitely twitching more.
Is it attacking me?
It's not attacking you yet, but it seems to be getting its bearings. There's
Okay.
no head or like eyes or anything yet, but there are these 4 spider legs that are just kind of doing this number out of your shoulder.
Cool.
Kato, Grant, Otrek, sorry, Halron.
It's okay.
You all have reached
ju-
the surface.
As they go by, I just want to say I have to stay in the water to see what happens with the corruption that we have unleashed. Drop something off the deck if you need me to stop the boat. And I'm waiting to see what happens on the corruption side, so
Okay.
that's me.
Queta, you are in there with Edgar. He is in pain. His, like I said, he's not bleeding out, but there is definitely a punctured lung involved and air escaping through the wound where this spike has emerged.
Oh, fantastic. Well, Queta can't really do much about that, but she can probably bring him to someone who can help. So, how do we want to play this? I think what she'll do is she'll probably use one of her nets to like help lift up Edgar. So
Yep.
she'll be using it along with her echo.
Yeah,
They're both
so yeah, you
gonna-
could basically make a nice, it's not a gurney's on wheels. It is a stretcher that you all can sort of make and carry Edgar between. Bird, I need you to make me another charisma saving throw as no one has the wheel right now. On a 24, you are basically, it's like, when pilots have to fly a plane by throttling the engines, is basically what you're doing as the rudder is completely uncontrolled. And since our good friend Biriana rolled a natural one, she's incapacitated this round. Kato and Otrek, what are you doing?
I'm scrambling aboard and surveying the situation. What is going on deck?
As I've described it, so we don't have to go through the entire thing again. You see this black ice. You do see you see no one at the wheel just sort of spinning up there. You see Biriana sort of crumpled with her hands over her head on the ground. Roll me a. Oh gosh, you've got a really high perception, don't you?
Very.
Actually, go ahead and roll me one, as this is going to be. This one's more of an active
Perception check?
Perception, yeah. I know you got a 16 passive, but let's just sort of see. So, in everything that's going on, you don't get a good look at Duran's eyes. That's what I was checking to see if you had seen what had happened. You do not get a good look because there's a lot happening.
Yeah. We're going to scuttle our way off to Bariana, see if there's anything we can do for her.
Probably going to take sort of like your entire movement to get up
it's
there.
It's a big boat. It's a big boat.
It's a big boat. But I mean, you immediately can assess there's 2 problems. One, you've got Biriana who's clutching her head in pain. The other one is the wheel sort of free spinning back there. And I think you would, in your assessment, would have definitely seen that Baldir is, working. Kato, what are you up to?
Scrambling up over the top of the boat as well. Do you want me to roll that perception?
Yep, go ahead and roll the
I can
perception as well.
see
Yep.
The good old rune eyes.
Yep.
All right. How's the shit?
On a 12, there's a lot going on. And I think also being aware, being safety first, worried that there might be a naked shard up here.
Yeah.
Not catching everything. You do see that there's a black block of ice. You see Duran there next to it. I would say, I mean, even on a 12, both of y'all would have seen the fact that there is now like the side of a spider emerging from Duran's shoulder.
Well, Sorry, IRL. I hate spiders.
I really should have checked with everyone.
No, it's super cool. This is super cool. It's just it's really fueling
I also
Kato's
don't
hate
like
for them
spiders,
as
but
well.
it's
I was
fine.
gonna say, and I know Bird doesn't either. So I failed as a DM for not doing a big check on everyone with spiders. But I mean, it's it's Loth. I mean, I kind of gotta go. It's
Oh,
not.
no, for
It's
sure.
not Loth. It is the dark. It's the dark Threadweaver in our world because we don't use her name.
Yes, Loth's non-union equivalent.
Yes, yes, exactly. Loth's non-union equivalent.
Well,
I love Kirkwood.
Otrek is scuttling off to check on Biriana. I guess I will go check on Duran, who has a whole ass or half-ass spider coming out of him. Shit, this is bad.
You want to?
Uncanny
Things
Grow
went
legs.
south really quick.
I don't think we need to stop the boat, though. Kato would not want to be the one to make that call.
Okay.
Yeah, so Kato is, I guess, gonna check on this spider coming out of Duran.
It's disturbing.
Yeah, it's, yeah. Well, since Duran's already in pain, can I try something?
Above table consent, so let's talk about it. And
Yeah,
then we can go
exactly.
into character. So,
I just have one quick question. I guess I should have asked this on my turn, but I think this might help. Is this like... Describe to me like how this spider is emerging from me. Is it like growing out of me? Is it like a arcane tear inside of me that's like emerging and tearing me apart? Like what's going on here?
it literally seems to be utilizing your bone and tissue to basically knit itself together. There's
That's
not like an arcane rip
horrifying.
or anything. It's basically, it is a genetic mutation that has run amok and is literally building a spider out of your flesh and bone.
Maybe it's friendly.
From
New familiar.
my-
I'm sure it'll be fine.
From the previous look over from Duran, his initial spike came out of his shoulder, correct?
Correct. And these,
So the infected bone is his arm.
correct. At this point, yeah, you would say what's the top bone in your arm? Humerus? No, that's a leg.
Humerus.
Humerus. So yes, it's like growing out of the top of his humerus, sort of right opposite of the shoulder ball joint, like on the other side of the shoulder ball joint. The very top where the humerus does the funny little funky thing.
Well, at least I don't need rotator cuff surgery.
Exactly.
I mean, the spider legs can sort of hold your arm in place.
I'm trying to figure out.
Tell me you're going to cut his arm off. I'm here for it.
That's honestly what I was thinking of. But that is a question that would really need to be gone over with Ace.
Yeah. I mean, I guess the
Nope.
real question is, do you have regeneration? I think at your level you do, correct? You should have access to regeneration, so you could grow it back.
We'll grow it back and it'll be full of spiders.
Again, nope.
Okay, that guy even got me.
Gross.
I claim at level 11 you have regeneration, but I don't. I've got D&D
It's a
Beyond.
5th level spell.
Yeah,
At least a druid has it.
yeah. So at least the druid has it. So and you and Halram would know each other's abilities. So, but I've still. This is up to you, Ace. Whether you want them. Whether you want.
Oh, I'm wrong. It's a 7th level spell.
Oh, so no, you all don't have it yet.
Nope.
That's super fair.
That's totally fine.
Let's not cut my arm off, please.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, you're super good. Shit, Kato, how I don't even know what to fucking do on this turn. Oh my god. I'm so sorry. This is.
Tell you what, there's
so much happening.
Well, that's the thing. There's a lot going on. We are way over for our break. Let's take a break so everyone can sort of. We got deep into this situation because it went sideways so fast.
Yeah.
Let's take a quick break and we'll come back and give everyone a second to think. Also, talk about any potential working with each other or chopping each other's arms off. But we'll be back in just a few minutes, folks, to see how our crew gets out of this mess that, somehow Duran created again. We'll be right back, folks. we're back, folks, as we return to panic on the deck as the shard is out of its containment on the deck, frozen in black ice. Two of the crew members looked at it, including Biriana. The wheel is spinning free. Duran has basically the left half of a spider growing out of his upper arm. We have both Jade Fist and Edgar with fresh spikes of corruption out of them, and we've got Halran trying to somehow contain, the reactor leak that they threw into this pristine river as it flows toward, the dark cave where all the evil is that grew spiders out of people's bones. It's fine. Everything's fine. Let's return to Kato, examining Duran.
Yeah, well, so Kato would be able to figure out anything about the spider, seeing that it's, not as viable right now.
Yeah, you would see that that first leg had started to calcify, but these other new ones are fresh grown, and but that first
they're
leg,
rip-roaring and ready to go.
Yeah, so the spikes resolved themselves before, took some time, but once the curse was gone and the disease was removed, they kind of resolved themselves. And without this new sort of exposure that Duran has undergone, your medical training would tell you that was the direction things were going. But hey, new fresh exposure. Yeah, new fresh exposure.
Yay.
I'm assuming that's for me.
Yes, my warlock dumbass. It is for you.
Okay, that's good.
No, so Kato will kind of assess that, not really sure where this wound is coming from, but Duran looks pretty injured, so let's start some healing. I don't want to cheese it and say I flip him over and see his rune eyes because I missed that perception check, so Kato does not notice that, and I am done.
Great. I'm trying to think where we were. I think we're back to Baldir doing us another check because no one's grabbed the wheel. So go ahead and do me that. Do me another charisma saving throw to see if you can keep us on. Again, with the 24, you are rolling on fire.
Is it my full? Is my full turn?
I would say since now that time, I'd say the first time it was almost reactionary. Now that you've had 3 turns, I'd say the rest of you now understand what's going on and you have the ability to do more than just be correcting the ship. You
Dimension door directly to where the wheel is. Grab it with my trunk while still controlling the winds.
Love it.
Sucker.
So yeah, there. You appear. Okay, my God, I love it. We had Luxdon using his trunk. So yeah, so you dimension door to the back of the ship from the front where you were, and grab onto the wheel with your trunk, stabilizing it, and still controlling the wind. You have Biriana there beside you, Otrek having just run up there as well, and let's go down to what Halran is doing in the water to try to contain this corruption flow that has been this sort of slug of corruption that is quickly flowing downriver. You are about a half a day's travel now at this point away from where the canyon was that led down to the cave. So how do you want to handle this?
Okay, I was actually going to ask how far away we were.
Yeah, it's lunchtime. You saw that literally at dawn.
Right. Yeah, okay. That makes sense. So how far am I ballpark from the beginning or the end, however you want to look at it, the farthest point away from me of the corruption?
I would say it's flowed about 60 feet down downstream, and I'd say it's over the course of a minute, it's about I'll call it 150 foot long sort of slug of corrupted water flow, and it is sort of diffusing at this point. It's like an oil leak. It's thicker right where it was coming right off it, but then where it first started flowing, I mean, it's osmosis works, and it is starting to diffuse out into the greater current.
Then what I'd like to do is I've maintained concentration on control water after getting Otrek and Kato out. And I'm going to just switch to the whirlpool effect. The idea being that it's used to concentrate the corrupted stuff into the bottom of the whirlpool. And I guess on either my next turn or the turn after that, depending on how quickly you think that would work out.
I'm gonna say it's gonna probably take a turn but I mean, yeah, it could definitely sort of vacuum this all up. In fact, you sort of, again, sort of seeing and sensing this corruption in the water using sort of your druidic nature. It starts to swirl around. It's almost like watching like one of those simulations of a black hole. You can see these bands of corruption sort of flowing into what's going to be a very concentrated sort of central sort of node, but right now it's still sort of spinning around the event horizon of the whirlpool, so to speak.
Sounds good. My eventual plan is to take a page out of Duron's book and shape water, ice it. But for now, we'll keep pulling it out of the water.
So that's what's happening down underwater. Back up to Queta. I don't think we got what you were doing with Edgar as you realize that it is sort of this same affliction that had taken Duron, this sort of chronic version of the corruption that sort of gets lodges into your bones. The problem is that while I won't call it benign, while the spider leg was somewhat benign, this one seems to have hit something vital as it erupted from Edgar.
True. So again, well, Queta knows that Kato is probably going to be on deck first because she knows that he went down with him. So it would actually, instead of, because Queta would have wanted to follow Nerial, and she knows that he would have been at Kato's office. However, the best thing to do to make sure this guy doesn't just fucking die is probably bring him back on deck. So Queta and the Echo would
make the effort
to. Yeah.
Yep. Sorry, I forgot you had told me that. Yep. So you all are moving out with the stretcher out onto deck. Sorry, I literally just slipped my mind in the chaos of the moment.
Question. What? Am I just like able to transport it fine? Would it be more expedited for me to use the dash action while I'm doing this?
I mean, I would say that basically over the course of your turn, you get out on deck, you see Kato caring for Duron out there. As you all come out onto the deck, you again can assess the situation. You do see the extra spider legs coming out of Duron. You don't see Halron anywhere. You probably caught out of the corner of your eye Baldir bamfing back to the wheel. The chaos seems to be calming down a little bit, but it will take your turn to get all the way out of the kitchen, up on deck, and get Edgar to Kato. Will probably take your entire turn.
Yeah, so she'll just shout out to Kato, "We've got trouble."
Okay. Otrek up there by Biriana.
Yeah. Wounded or just seemingly
wounded? She was grabbing her head. She's sort of curled up almost in a ball. I wouldn't, there was sort of actually you weren't on deck with the initial scream, but just, sort of that deep breathing. I mean, mid, halo migraine moment.
Oh, God, fuck that.
Yeah.
As someone that gets halos. No, thank you. We're going to just cast, anything that's putting her down. We're going to go with, if I can get it to work. No, of course not. I guess. We're just going to cast Cure Wounds.
Okay. Yep. You do see her get better. Roll me a perception check as she sort of rolls over and looks up at you. With 21, you see those same runes that you saw on Queta etched into her eyes, and you catch it just as they start to fade, the same way they did on Queta. that sort of telltale mark of shard exposure.
Mm-hmm. Well, crap. Yeah, we're just gonna hiss in dismay. I think that's my go-to move right now.
Okay. I think we've hit everyone back to Duron.
I'm not gonna lie, I have no idea what to do. Except to get away from this shard. So I think that's an action. I don't want to use my action. I'm at the middle of the boat.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, beam is, it's a 30 feet beam. The ship is 35 feet wide, so
35 feet wide, 200 feet long. Is that what you
200
said?
feet long. Yep.
Sure. Move, dash, misty step all the way to the far end of the front of the boat.
Okay.
Get as far away from that shard as I can.
Okay. Yeah, easily able to do that between all those movements, and you sort of reappear there at the front. You do. That is where Jade Fist was, where and you just sort of there's almost a commiserating look, other than that she kind of recoils at your spider legs.
Yeah. If you could move, I don't know what this is going to do, so I don't want to put you in any danger.
She kind of looks at you and kind of points at the spike coming out of her thigh.
Yeah, I know what you mean.
Okay.
She could crawl? I don't know.
I think probably seeing the spider legs and you saying that it might do something to her, yeah, I think probably she does start to sort of crawl, but it is not fast going to get away from you.
A little help over here.
Kuma, are you with us, or did you need to take a break? If you did, that's fine.
Oh no, I'm here.
Okay, no worries. Yeah, no worries at all. Just checking. Your patient basically just got up and misty stepped and ran up to the front of the ship, and you hear Duron calling out.
Well, perhaps if you didn't move so quickly.
Not for me, for her.
Oh. And Kato's gonna. I don't think I have enough movement to get up to them, so that'll be the majority of
Sort of, I'd say you with a
probably.
dash and with Jade Fist, because she's a monk, so even though crawling has got quite a bit of movement, I'd say you'd probably meet sort of on the stairs that come from the forecastle down onto the main deck, and you've probably used all your action, but I can't do much to help her this round. But you can, again, quickly assess what's happening, knowing that you had resurrected her, and that this is that sort of chronic manifestation again. On the same note, just because I'm not sure, right now, basically Queda and her Echo just showed up with Edgar, who does have a punctured lung, right next to you before moving towards Jade Fist, if you're wanting to deal with that first in triage world.
Yeah, if I can see, because like I can see further than I can move. If I can see that she's got it coming out of her leg and Edgar's coming out of his lung, he's gonna take precedence.
Okay. So yeah, I think you're a trained medical professional, and even though your courage shows when it's under medical pressure.
Yeah, so Kato's immediately going to start ushering them towards the surgical suite so that Kato can fix this.
Gotcha. Okay. We're going to say things are kind of quickly resolving themselves. We're going to get out of sort of a combat mode here into a more aftermath as Halran, you're able to sort of freeze and contain this corruption. Kato, you're dealing with people. down in your surgical suite. Queta and Echo sort of helping out, being medics. Baldir, just sailing the ship. What the one man crew here, keeping y'all on course. And I guess the big one I just want to check in is with Otrek, as you were the person to sort of get the full look at what had happened to Biriana. She does seem to be still in some pain. Your cure wounds helped, but it seems as though she took a pretty big hit from the looking at the shard.
I'm doing some really heavy thinking. I'm thinking that Otrek's going to make a choice that people aren't going to like.
Okay. Do you want to discuss it with the group, or?
Yeah, we're going to have to talk about this.
Okay.
But above table, I don't know how powerful this shard is. It seems pretty potent. But I've got an incredibly high spell check modifier. I'm really, really tempted to try Dispel Magic on it. And I know that might fuck some of the story if it works. But at this point, Otrek's looking at, in the balance of things, this is hella cursed. I know enough about magic that remove curse just breaks your attunement from it. It doesn't remove the actual curse of the item. The item's going to always be cursed, but Dispel Magic works on just about everything. If it's packing 9th level spell power, I've got a 40% chance of success without any boosts, boons, or help.
100% with you all the way up to this does seem to be acting outside of the realms of normal magic. So that 40% not being, again.
I'm just saying, if it's got 9th level spell power, that's 40% chance. Just to give people a scale of what are the odds. If it's an artifact, it's 100% outside of my power to screw with it. But I'm really, really tempted to give it a shot. Above board, Otrek is chaotic neutral. He'll screw with a lot of stuff, but there is definitely a point where risk is a problem. We're supposed to return the shard. Cool. If it's denatured, that's the dragon's problem, not mine. And if we don't get to explore a whole nother realm of reality, yeah, that really, really burns and chafes Otrek's vibe. But we can't carry around spider-cursed legs like all the damn time. That's just not going to be good for exploring another realm either. So I'm willing to take a shot at it.
We also have another shard, although minuscule in size and power.
Yeah, and we can always find... There's likely to be more than one shard, is Otrek's thought.
Just throwing that out there as food for thought.
Okay.
I mean, on the above table thing, if I'm successful, that ruins this shard for us, but it opens up some more story opportunity. If I'm not successful, which I don't expect to be, honestly, the odds are probably not there. But it's worth a shot, and I wanted to pass it by you guys first before I did anything like that. Thoughts?
I'm just along for the ride.
You and your cursed belt.
I mean, if you do manage to depower the shard, we do have other powerful artifacts on board. I'm just saying.
Yeah, but they don't hurl us to new realms, unfortunately.
Well, that's not tested.
I don't want to be hurled to the belt realm, the realm of shadow belts, the belt shadow realm. No, don't activate that trap card.
Yeah, I mean, let's tell me, paint me this scene as Otrek is done with this shard.
Yeah. So what we're gonna do then? I need to look at a couple things. All right, absolutely fed up. Otrek looks from Biriana to the shard, looks back at her, and just says sorry. Just hisses it out, sorry.
Okay.
Stands up, and I gotta look at Dispel Magic. I don't think it's touch. I think it's 30-foot range.
I think you're right. I think it is range. It's in sight.
Yeah.
Ooh, the shard is currently inside of black ice. Is it? Do you have an object you can see? That's going to be
Choose one creature, object, or magical effect within range.
Okay, cool. I didn't know the words. I'm not.
Okay.
Yeah, I was just postulating. But yeah, within
Yep.
range. You know where it is.
I'm gonna have to wait though to select my spells for the next day.
Oh, you don't have it prepared for today?
I don't have the setup that I need.
Okay.
But Otrek is going to telegraph a little bit that he's going to do something that Biriana doesn't want him to do.
Okay.
Yeah.
Biriana is in no condition to even really register what the I'm sorry about, whether as she is having taken a huge blow of psychic damage.
We're gonna pull a canvas tarp of some sort over the block of ice as it's there, and then
You still have the barrels and the lead stuff all still there that had been containing it.
it's a huge block of ice.
Yeah.
I'm not going to chisel through that and deal with it. I'm just going to deal with it in the morning.
I would help move it if that's the case.
I mean, if we can get into a barrel, that's fantastic.
Yeah, I mean, we can put it back into the containment you had that was
Yeah.
somewhat stable before you pulled it apart.
And then we're going to go find Kato.
Yeah.
I'll do
quite
that.
a.
And just that's my last spell of the day. Well, of the hour.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was gonna say Queta could help. Queta and her Echo could help put that away.
Fantastic.
Using their combined strength, but if there's like another way you guys have with them,
Yeah.
I would just think it's better to use something that's not corporeal to touch it.
Yeah. So it's going to take a little time, as it took some time before, and you all sort of get back underway. Go ahead, Halron.
Well, I think as they're maybe getting ready to move the shard back into the containment, I would probably emerge with
Yeah, the
an
sphere.
ice ball of corruption too.
Yeah,
If we could fit that
basketball of
into, that'd be
corruption.
great.
I mean, yeah, there's in the center barrel. It before was empty, but in the lead barrel, let's make it easy. There's enough volume in there. I mean, it would then literally submerge the shard in its own corruption. But that's kind of what the Vile Reef was. So, if that's something you'd like to do.
I would defer to Otrak.
Can't hurt, right?
You're muted.
He says, go ahead and put it in there. It doesn't matter.
So yeah, you make a new shard pickle barrel, seal it up, salt it, seal it up, and y'all get to like take a breath for a second and head back underway up the river as the journey continues. That claustrophobia that you all had felt before continues to get just sort of more oppressive. Also, in light of everything that's just happened, the whole crew definitely tense. And while the river's not really gotten any narrower, there are very few places that aren't just those vertical walls of stone. And none of you would miss all too frequent these sort of huge boulders sort of overhanging the course of the river. You would even sort of see some of the more superstitious crew members or yourselves, kind of do that weird crouch and look up, even though they're 800 feet above you. But when the shadow of one of those boulders sort of passes across the deck and you kind of know you're going under it, there is definitely that hinky feeling of there's a really big boulder, like as large as the ship that you're sailing underneath of. After a few hours of this, getting along for 5 o'clock in the afternoon, Hallran, certainly, Baldir, Otrek, if you're on deck, or are you down in your lab?
I'm probably down in my lab,
Okay.
going through some notes because this is not going to be easy.
Okay. So Halran and Baldir, you see ahead of you as this sort of next twist of the canyon approaches, that there's sort of a natural stone arch bridging the walls of the canyon. At this point, the river's still about 300 feet wide. No shore is discernible at all, just the water flowing against these vertical stone walls, which have now towered above you almost 1,200 feet high. Sort of the lower edge of this arch is about at 1,000 feet, and seems to be almost like 200 feet thick. I mean, it is a big, sort of natural, heavy stone arch. As we discussed, even the Whale's Whiskers masts, when they're set for ocean sailing, are only 250 feet tall. They're now down around 125 for the river navigation. But you can't see beyond the arch. You can just see there's arch there because the way that the river curves around, you can sort of see through it, but are just seeing the far wall. You can't see what lies beyond. Anything you all would like to do as you approach, or just continue sailing?
Along the map, whereabouts are we?
You are getting very close to the end of the river. Sort of, you've started moving northward. So I'd say you're approaching on the map the end of what you would believe to be the end of the river.
If nothing else, probably just set call outs of what's happening. An ostentatious entrance awaits. It seems we're drawing to the end. Everyone prepare.
Duron's perched up at the front, not moving, connecting to the water, meditating on stuff, short resting if I can.
You would have been able to short rest over the course of this time.
How are you doing, Duron? Just kind of like mentally? Like, are you wearing any of this,
well, it's not going well. How about that? He had what he thought was a really great idea. Total cluster, backfire, chaos, shit afterwards. And now has half a spider hanging out of him. It's not super great. He's probably just being very quiet up at the front.
After your short rest, you will notice that first leg does seem to have died. It's still there. The other ones are kind of more similar to what you saw from the first leg right after it had sprouted.
Cool.
So
hopefully it'll go away soon.
Yeah.
Just real quick, with Duron on the front of the ship and Baldir probably somewhere able to see Duron. Not going to make a big deal about it, not going to have a whole heart-to-heart necessarily, but Baldir will probably at least approach fairly casually and just call out, give some distance, kind of knowing what mindset Duron is in, and just say, it didn't go as well as we hoped, but it went a lot better knowing to be prepared for some shenanigans. Duron, thank you for the heads up.
and you're assuming he's close enough, in his head he'll just hear Duran say, "Sounds like the theme of this journey."
You'll hear like a snort out of the trunk.
I think while that's all happening, if I'm assuming Baldir is still doing his fancy stuff to make the
Oh yeah,
boat move.
this would be unnavigatable without Baldir keeping the wind.
All right. Queta would have been doing like stuff for like nursing for like maybe maintenance on the ship, but when all that was done, she would probably head back over to Baldir and ask, "What's it look like? Are we close?"
Coming to the end, I think. It shouldn't be much further now. I'm not sure how ready any of us are, but we need to get to Fitz. We'll figure it out.
I agree. She holds her hands out and casts gusts of wind to help push the ship. The end can't come fast enough.
Okay.
Sweet.
And with that gust of wind, as you all round the bend and pass under this arch, the walls of this canyon begin to suddenly widen out to almost 500 or 600 feet wide, sort of in an almost egg-shaped fashion in front of you. And instead of that harsh verticality they had before, the top 600 feet or so have sort of like a smooth, almost funnel-like shape. Baldir, you especially, would notice that that shape of this space has created sort of a swirling vortex of wind that spins around the perimeter. No match, for your storm guide ability, but definitely noticeable as you pass under the arch and into this area, and that flowing current sort of buffets the ship. However, that's not what draws the eye of the entire crew, of all of you on deck. An illusion so powerful you almost question how it's possible. Because there, before you, you are seeing this giant 1,500 foot tall sword with a broken blade. Those of you with higher wisdom and intellect will resolve this illusion first. So yeah, Duran, you don't get it.
Well, what's this sword doing here?
Yeah. It's the afternoon sun is reflecting off of the waterfall, lighting it up like polished metal. The first 2/3 of the fall's plummet is protected on both sides by outcroppings of rock, making its flow perfectly laminar and smooth as glass. The bottom third is unprotected, and that swirling wind along the canyon walls rips the flow away, creating a jagged break in the falls. All of that water is carried horizontally by the wind, where it splashes up against the canyon wall, gathering in outcroppings and ledges, where that scintillating afternoon light of each pool and wet rock face becomes these shards of this broken blade forever suspended in the seconds after it was shattered. As your eyes travel up to the top of the falls, you see a towering thin stone spire bisecting the flow of the falls, becoming a hilt, atop of which is a gnarled tree rooted to the rock itself, creating a pommel stone. Those near Biriana will hear her say, "The shattered saber. We find where we're going beyond the hilt of the broken blade." As all of you sort of gaze up at this, that is where we're going to end our session for the evening.
Nice.
What a place to end. Maybe we won't have to fuck with the shard.
Oh, no. I am burning that thing to the ground. I am not. If I can, that thing's going.
So, Let's go around the room real quick and check in with our players. Let's first start off with Soul.
Hello everyone, my name is Soul. I can be found everywhere as Soul's Rolls. I am playing Otrek, our Lizard Folk Artificer. And that's really all I got to say tonight.
Next up, we have Ace.
Hi y'all, I'm Ace. Y'all got to watch me do a bunch of dumb things tonight. I hope y'all had fun. I did.
That's what D&D is all about. Next up, we got Grant.
Hi everyone, I'm Grant, and yeah, I had a great time watching everything unfold tonight. I hope everyone else did too.
Next up, we've got Meta.
Yeah, hi. I'm Metaza. I played as Queta. I was having a great time. That was a really great ending cutscene. I do a lot of shit on Twitter and Instagram and stuff, but that was also really cool too, and that's what I kind of want to keep the focus on.
Cool. Next up, we've got Bird vs. Blaine.
I'm Bird. I played Baldir. I want to dumb sorcerer. Yeah, man. Full speed ahead. Let's do this thing.
And last but not least, we've got Kuma.
Hi, hello, yes. You can find me everywhere online at Kuma the Bronze. Thanks for putting up with me. Had to turn my camera off. Pain day, but
Fine.
thanks for sticking with us. And great ending, Tall. Always amazing with the music.
And I'm Tall Squall. I hope you enjoyed our story. Lots more big things to come as we get to what lies beyond the hilt of the broken blade. Hope you all enjoyed it. Please do, if you can, support our charity, which is Satchel's Last Resort. The link is down below. And until next time, gather with friends together and tell a story, because that is what it's all about. Y'all have a great one this evening. Good night, everyone.